Here we are. Okay, so hi everyone. Today I'm very excited to have the fabulous Vanessa Nixon here. And she's going to talk about the launch of her new book, Meno-Morphosis. So Vanessa is a traditional naturopath. She's passionate about supporting women going through this transitional journey of menopause. And she is also the CEO of the natural cosmetic company called Natural Look Mineral Makeup. And she's also a professional belly dancer. So Vanessa, welcome. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having this conversation with me and for talking about my new book launch. I'm really excited about it.
Of course. So first, would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself
Yeah,
and what brought you into this journey of supporting women through the menopausal journey?
absolutely. Thank you. Yes. So my story actually began in my early 20s when I had been chronically ill for a number of years, about 7 years. And I had gone through all of the conventional avenues without any relief. And I kind of felt like I was on a downward spiral. And that is when I found natural health. And I was able to heal myself through natural modalities like nutritional healing and herbal medicine. And from that point, I just became a voracious reader about anything that had to do with natural lifestyle, natural living, natural healing. And eventually I went on to get a degree as a traditional naturopath. And then I came to this place in my life where it felt like everything was falling apart. I was in my late 40s. I was getting divorced. My children were leaving the nest. I was moving to a new town, bought a new house on my own for the first time, and then later started dating for the first time in 25 years as a menopausal woman. And throughout that whole period, I had kind of forgotten, because of all the stress, all of the things that were happening at the same time, I'd forgotten my own skill set. I had forgotten that I had tools. And I was dealing with some uh, perimenopausal symptoms before I went into menopause that I didn't even recognize as perimenopause. And the thing that turned it around for me then was realizing I have the education, I have the experience, I have the wisdom to deal with these things in a really natural, holistic, aligned way. And I just needed to pause. That word menopause is, I think, really aptly named because it is a time in our life where we need to pause. We need to take that pause and reflect on what do we really need in this moment. And what I needed was to remember. I needed to remember that I had the skills. And I also needed to remember that I had the community. I had the support of all of these beautiful women that I had cultivated into a really supportive network around me. And when I was able to remember those two things, then everything kind of started to feel easier. My symptoms started to abate and reduce, and I started to feel vibrant again. I started to feel focused again and confident. I started to feel like really confident that this next stage of my life is going to be really good, not just for me, but also for my children, for my extended family, for my community. And it's a time when I can really help the world in the way that is aligned with me and my gifts and my dreams.
That's wonderful. That's really a beautiful journey. And I love that you took the time to pause and be able also to go to other women around you and gather this community, because I believe that we are much stronger together, and we're actually much stronger when we talk about these things and we share with each other our experiences. Even if they are slightly different, we have a common ground where we can really support each other.
Yes, and that is really one of the reasons why I wrote my first book, and now the second book is we do need to talk about this. We need to start the conversation. We need to expand the dialogue around this phase of a woman's life, because it is very powerful. It contains so many opportunities for us. But when we don't know that, when we haven't talked about it, when we don't know what to expect, when we're confused, when we are in poor health, when we are so consumed with all of the other things that are going on, then we can miss those opportunities. We don't feel vital. We don't necessarily have the capacity to actually step into our power in this time of life. And so that's something that I'm really passionate about, is helping women to have to move forward feeling confident, feeling like they can step into their own power so that they can do the work that they're meant to do in the world and make a bigger impact.
Yeah. So this book that you're launching on the 13th of November, it's actually your second book. So it's called the Meno-Morphosis Playbook. It's a
Yeah.
playbook, and it's a companion book to your first book. So how do these two books complement each other?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first book, Meno-Morphosis, Rituals, Spells, and Natural Remedies for Peri, Mid, and Postmenopausal Women, is kind of like, it encapsulates the work that I do with women individually. When I work with a woman one-on-one, this book kind of takes the reader through a similar process of going through reframing your concepts around menopause and the entire menopausal journey, giving more information about what it actually is. A lot of women don't understand what perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause actually mean. And then all of the natural modalities that I use with my clients. I have a separate chapter in each book for walking women through how you would use those modalities. And so one of the reasons that I wrote the book is because not every woman needs to work with someone one-on-one or has the capability to do that. But most people do have the ability to buy a book. And so I wanted to get it out there to more people, just so that they have that as a resource. And then the second book, the Meno-Morphosis Playbook, is like a workbook. I didn't want to call it a workbook because I don't want it to feel like work. I want it to feel like play. When we bring fun and joy into our lifestyle and the things that we're wanting to create in our lives, I believe that elevates our vibration, it elevates our desire, and it makes it more likely that we're going to succeed. And so I wanted this book to be a space where I could take all of the practices and exercises and journaling prompts from the main book and give them their own space, so that women could have a dedicated space to actually do the things that are in the book. Because I don't know about you, but I read a lot of books on personal development and health, and I have that knowledge up here, but it takes another step to actually implement it and integrate it so that it's part of your lifestyle. And that is what I'm hoping that this book will help women to do, is to take everything they gained from the original book and then be able to use this playbook to integrate it and embody it so they're actually getting the results from it that they're looking for.
That's really valuable. Yeah, I can definitely agree that when I read some books, I have all these ideas coming up and all these things that I think, okay, I will implement that, but later, I never get to do it. So having this playbook when I can just check one at the time and just going through it, it's definitely something that is immensely valuable.
Thank you. That is my hope. That is my wish for this second book.
So you spoke about the skills that you had within yourself to deal with this phase of life, and that when you were able to pause, you were able to realize that you had these skills, you had these tools, and you were able to go through it. What are some of those skills that?
Yeah, so throughout my my education and my practice, I have collected a number of different modalities that I have become certified, become degreed in. And the first one is nutritional healing. And that's one of the places that I start with most women because, the saying, we are what we eat, that really is true. If our bodies are not getting what they need through our food, then it's really difficult for our bodies to heal because you have to deal with those nutritional deficiencies first. And once you can correct that, then your body's going to have the energy to put toward healing. So besides nutritional healing, then I work with herbal medicine. I work with flower essences, homeopathy, energy medicine, movement, and then also with the you had mentioned earlier, the natural cosmetics company that I created and am the CEO of. I think it's really important, especially in this phase of life, for women to feel beautiful. Because our culture is so focused on youth. And when we get to this phase of life, a lot of times we feel invisible. We feel like our culture does not value us any longer because we don't look young anymore. We don't look like we did when we were in our 20s and 30s. And we start to feel like our worth as a human being has changed as we've matured. And so I think it's really important for women not only to understand their self-worth from another perspective other than just their physical beauty, but I think it's also important for women to understand that maturity, while it may look different from youth, is incredibly gorgeous. And so that is another element that I really bring in, is this just sense of women's empowerment, women's innate beauty, and women's innate wisdom. Because we all have an inner wisdom and an intuition that tells us what's right for us, what is our next step, what we need to do to be healthy and vital. But most of us are not taught to listen to that voice. And so it's really important, I believe, as we mature and we become wiser and wiser and we become the wise women of our communities, that we have a very strong connection to that inner voice. And so underlying all of those different modalities and skills, what I really love to be able to do is just hold space for women to connect with themselves and hear the messages that their intuition and their inner wisdom is bringing forth, so that they can then go out in the world and feel empowered to live the second half of their lives on their terms and bringing into the world new creative projects or new careers or new communities that are going to serve us all.
That's really something that I love about your messages, is that, I mean, we often see menopause as something that is stigmatized or negative and all these symptoms that, I mean, are really not fun. But you see that through a transformation phase, like something beautiful that if we just take the time to pause and connect with our inner selves and become who we want to be in the next phase of life, you're really giving it a beautiful, positive shift, a beautiful transformation, because it's part of life and it's something that all women will go through.
Absolutely.
And so what I was wondering is, like, what would you like everyone to know about menopause? How would you like everybody to talk about this?
That's a wonderful question. And I think that you just expressed it yourself, because the conversation is starting. We are starting to hear people talk about menopause, but as you said, a lot of what we're hearing is the negative side. And while we definitely need to educate ourselves about some of the symptoms that we can be feeling, and it definitely can be very challenging for some women, I also really want women to understand that this can be the healthiest, the most vibrant, the most impactful and purposeful time of your life. And there are some women that just breeze through the menopausal journey. It's not this, doom and gloom and, it's all downhill from here kind of thing that we sometimes imagine from what we are hearing, or from what we might be getting from our healthcare practitioners who aren't trained in menopausal health. So what I want women to know is that this can absolutely be the most empowered time of your life, where you can really be feeling better than you did in your 20s. It really is possible. And it does take that pause. It does take you really believing, perhaps doing some reframing of your beliefs, your mindset, and maybe incorporating some new tools and new skill sets so that you are feeling like you are ready to take ownership of your health and to take this next step. I think that is feeling empowered is the first step, I think, of any major transformation, is to feel empowered to actually be able to do it, to understand it's possible and to understand it's possible for you.
Yeah, and seeing it as a transformation is really empowering. So as we are wrapping up, I'd like to remind everyone that Vanessa's book is launching on the 13th of November, Pacific time.
Yes.
And that for this day, you can have a free Kindle version of the book. Is that right?
That is right. For that one day, the Kindle version is free. And I want to mention that this book is very graphics heavy. I don't know if we can really show all the graphics, but Kindle formatting doesn't really do graphics well. So I love having the Kindle version available, and what I've done, because you don't get all the graphics or you can't really journal on a Kindle reader. What I've done is I've provided a link in the Kindle to a PDF download. So even if you buy the Kindle, you can still be able to print out a paper copy and have all the beautiful visuals and the space to journal. I'm also going to be putting the paperback version on sale. It's going to be at a discounted price on that day as well. So yes, I just want to get this out into the hands of as many people as possible.
That's beautiful. And that's very thoughtful of you to have the PDF also available for download. So we will link all of that in the show notes so everybody can access it. Vanessa, thank you so much. That was really great to have you here. And I really look forward to playing with this playbook and start the exercise.
Thank you, Camille. This has been really delightful to have this conversation. And thank you so much for asking about the book and for helping me to share it with a bigger audience.
Thank you.